Good choice. So, you want to know about the Flint Strike of 37. Well, first of all, you should know that with Roosevelt's New Deal put in place in the early 1930s, the federal government began to favor the laborers in industries rather than the management. With the workers in factories having more leverage, if you will, after the implementation of the New Deal, many saw the opportunity for change. One of these changes came upon General Motors in 1937 when the members of the United Automobile Workers, the UAW, decided to take advantage of this New Deal. Many years previous to the strike in 1937, the UAW had been attempting to unionize the company, but just didn't have the firepower to do it. Once the New Deal was put in place, however, they were finally given the chance to really make changes for the betterment of the company and their own lives. The strike was fueled by many factors. The laborers wanted to make the company stop sending work to non-union plants, win the recognition of the UAW as the only bargaining agent for GM's workers, establish a fair minimum wage scale, establish a grievance system, and establish a set of procedures that would help protect assembly line workers from injury. Once the laborers decided on what they felt was necessary for them in the factory and the industry as a whole, the strike was ready to begin. The strike actually began at smaller plants. Fisher Body in Atlanta on November 16th, GM in Kansas City on December 16th, and a Fisher stamping plant in Cleveland on December 28th. The Flint plant was the biggest factory, however. It contained one of just 2 sets of body dies that GM used to stamp out almost every one of his 1937 cars. By seizing control of the Flint plant, auto workers could shut down the company almost entirely. On December 30th, 1936, the night shift working the General Motors Fisher Body Plant No. 1 in Flint, Michigan simply stopped working and sat down. One account says a worker yelled, "She's ours." The 44-day journey began, in which the workers planned to stay put in the factory until they received the rights to unionize and other factors that they believed they deserved. There was an opposing force, however, as GM would try and defeat the workers' efforts. The men were going to have to be resilient, and they were. GM first went to the courts and claimed the men were trespassing. They even got a court order demanding their evacuation. The men wouldn't leave. GM would eventually turn the heat off in the factory, in which the laborers responded by huddling together in blankets for warmth. They were determined to stay put. GM continued their efforts to get the factory back, and on January 11th of 1937, sent in the police to try and cut off the workers' food supply. The resulting riot, the Battle of the Bull Run, led to 16 workers and 11 policemen injured. In the process, the UAW actually took over the adjacent Fisher II plant. Over and over again, the workers showed to be resilient in their efforts and actually gained more ground in this riot by taking over the Fisher II plant. The workers would later win control of the enormous Chevrolet No. 4 engine factory on February 4th. GM's output went from a robust 50,000 cars in December to just 125 in February. Despite GM's enormous political clout, Michigan Governor Frank Murphy refused to use force to break the strike. Though the sit-ins were illegal, he also believed that authorizing the National Guard to break the strike would be an enormous mistake and would lead to numerous deaths. As a result, he declared, "The state authorities will not take sides. They are only here to protect the public peace." Meanwhile, President Roosevelt urged GM to recognize the union so that the plants could reopen. In mid-February, the automaker signed an agreement with the UAW. Among other things, the workers were given a 5% raise and permission to speak in the lunchroom. The men were successful, and it all led to the unionization of the domestic United States automobile industry. The Flint Strike of 1937 changed the United Automobile Workers from a collection of isolated locals on the fringes of industry into a major labor union. Do you want to see more information on the Flint Strike of 1937? Then replay this video. Or, if you want to learn about any of the topics listed during the 1930s, click one of the categories that you see on the screen.